Well, good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am General Lotz, and today we are here to take a look at a game that is very special in my mind. And wow, no, go away, Doom Eternal. No one likes you yet. There we go. No, go away. All things, go away. There we go. Already got technical issues. So yeah, where were we? Ah yes, Doom 2016 came out, what was it, 3 years ago now? And in just a month, there will be a sequel. And now we're going to go through Doom 2016 to see if it's even worth a sequel. Now, when I initially live streamed the game the day it came out. In fact, this is a donation from a fan named, I think, Rico Rodrigue or something. It's a reference to Just Cause 2. But anyway, it was a very kindly donation. And it didn't work very well on the system I had at the time. Please tell me the audio is going on. It better be. Streaming Doom 4 is about to... You know, I've never actually played any of the multiplayer of Doom 2016. I played it once for the review, but when I first got the game, I was running a very weak system at the time, but I was damn lucky to have that at the time. Now, you know, I'm running Ryzen and all the rest, so yeah, it should be fun. Also, I still have my original save, last played on 6/30/2016. My God, that was a long time ago. At 2:19 a.m. What the hell was I doing then? Alright, so we are actually just going to do this on Hurt Me Plenty so I can pay attention to the chat. I've actually beaten it Ultra Violence just by myself. I have not tried Nightmare or Ultra Nightmare just because I actually have a life outside of the video-based games. So, Doom 2016. My opinion has vacillated between really liking it and thinking it's a bit overrated. I find it to be good, but I think that it does get a little bit bogged down in the constant arenas. So, but then again, I have... See, what's funny is, you know, my opinion vacillates mainly because I've played it so many times at this point. Because I think I've played this game probably about... at least 5 times. Okay, maybe I do like it. Also, I love this intro scene. I loved it since I first played it. He just literally rips his way out of there, smacks him in the face, crushes his fucking skull. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And I absolutely love the fact that you get this little blaster. I quite like the blaster just because it is a nice reference to Quake 4 that is sadly criminally underrated. I mean, that is totally the blaster from Quake 4. So, yeah. And Doom Arenas, that was a fan film that never really got finished. For those who don't know what Doom Arenas is, it's a little CG fan film done by a fan whose name I don't remember at the moment. I did a review of that way back in the day. They did, like, the part of, like, a sequel, but sadly they didn't have enough money to continue it, which was kind of annoying. Because it was quite a good little fanfic, or fan film. The Praetor suit. You know, there were a lot of complaints when this game came out about the Praetor suit looking too much like the Mjolnir Mark V armor, but to be honest, it looks different enough, and ultimately, I quite like it. However, it is a bit incongruous, though. Just because it's like, it's a technological thing and a really organic looking kind of demonic kind of thing. Error code 20. Gotta love it. Base casualty. It's like... So, I don't know if they're gonna bring back Samuel Hayden or not. I think there's some fan theories that they aren't, or that he's gonna be the new Icon of Sin. I don't know. I kind of like the character. It's, interesting how they worked with this. There's only really 2 characters in the game, Doom Guy and him. It works well enough, but I would have liked a couple more characters, and I still like the idea of a talking Doom Guy.
Samuel Hayden, I'm the head of this facility.
And it sounds just like Lance Hendrickson.
Work together and resolve this problem in a way that benefits us both.
Shatnerverse novels? Shatnerverse novels are kind of crappy. The very first one is good, but the rest kind of ruined, you know, Captain Kirk's character. I think the thing that did it for me, because I bought a lot of them at a half-price bookstore, and I thought it was going to be good, but the biggest problem with Shatnerverse is, and I'm blaming this on Shat, because I don't know how good of a writer Shat is, but I do know how good of a writer Judith and Garfield Reeve-Stevens are. And, yeah, I don't think they'd do that. Basically, in Book 2 of the Shatnerverse, they got Captain Kirk talking about how the Federation's going to fall one day and stuff like that. And it's like, he really shouldn't be saying that, because Captain Kirk was very loyal to the very concept of the Federation. They kind of got away from that as Star Trek went on. They kind of forgot that, like, you know, Captain Kirk is a massive patriot. But, yeah, whatever. Ah, the very first level. Now, I don't know if it's a problem or not. It just is kind of interesting to see that Doom 2016 went with Mars versus Phobos or Deimos. I don't know why they didn't really like the Martian moons, but they liked the planet. But then again, I kind of like the reference to Doom 3, so yeah. I do like how they basically said all the Dooms are canonical in some way. And I still believe that at the very end of Doom 3, that Doom Slayer is in that thing, in the sarcophagus. I'm assuming he's in there. Now, Doom Slayer as a character, initially I wanted to dislike because it's like, well, you know, Flynn Taggart was a guy, you know, not some sort of magical guy in super armor. But at the same time, I think Doom Slayer is a cool concept, and I think it works for this game. And it can complement Flynn Taggart. Or this could be a supercharged Flynn Taggart. I don't know which. Either one works, in my opinion. Now, there were some complaints about, like, the shotgun seems too weak. Honestly, the shotgun in Doom 3 wasn't any better. And this shotgun's fine. I mean, it works. Now, for those who don't know, I am using a controller simply because my day job is typing all day, every day. And so I want my fingers to have a bit of a rest. I do not want to use a keyboard when I get home from work. And I will showcase something that took a lot of 10-hour days to acquire. Now, of course, you got the glory kill system. You know, I gotta say, I've kind of vacillated once again between hating it and liking it. I think when, like, recording a not a vlog, but a Let's Play or something, it gets kind of boring. But just playing normally or like this, it really isn't. And it has a decent flow to it.
Cannot be allowed to leave this place.
Damn straight, we ruined everything. Fucking bitch. Gonna smack you. In Spy Drag. Oh, wait, we can't say that because it's a spoiler.
I'm willing to take full responsibility for the horrible events of the last 24 hours, but you must understand. Our interest in their world was purely for the benefit.
Oh, I'm sure it was, Sammy.
Everything has clearly gotten out of hand now, yes. But it was worth the risk, I assure you.
I absolutely love this little intro here. I love how it has to immediately cut to Bethesda and then id. That's just sad. I absolutely love this dubstep rendition of the Doom theme. It just sounds so good. I gotta admit, I will listen to the Mick Gordon soundtrack, like, I would not say every day, but at least one day out of the week, I listen to it at work. Like, if I'm, like, half asleep, just barely able to type, I'll fucking turn that on. Oh, yeah. And I will listen to it, and it will perk me up quite a bit. And indeed they can. Still at work, that is not fun. I'm not really into System Shock, so I can't really be excited for a second sequel of a game series I've never played. I don't think Shat actually wrote the Shatnerverse novels. I was already a fan of Judith and Garfield Reeve-Stevens to begin with, and I recognize their writing style. For those who don't know who they are, I believe they're a husband and wife writing team. And they've written a lot of famous stuff over the years, including a number of Batman, the animated series, episodes. My favorite book of theirs is Star Trek Federation, and Star Trek Federation is by far my favorite Star Trek book of all time. I reviewed that close to 10 years ago. My God, I feel old. It's an excellent book. For those who've never heard of it, it finally has Kirk and Picard team up in an adventure that you'd actually want to read about. And it works really, really well. It even has Zephyr Cochrane show up, along with the companion. and it also works really well. It turns Zephram Cochrane into an awesome character versus just, you know, kind of a drunk, eccentric guy, which I was kind of annoyed at, actually. But I was annoyed at that, like, after the fact, because when First Contact came out, it was like my favorite Star Trek movie of all time. It still is. Well, second only to Wrath of Khan. But I didn't know there's any other type of Zephram Cochrane other than that, but I prefer the book version much better than the one in the film. Even though the film is pretty good. And hell, I've got the bloody poster sitting on my wall, and it's a poster I've had since 1996 when the film came out. What's kind of funny is I saw First Contact side by side with Spaceballs. Now that's a total shift if ever there was one. Alright, now we just grab the old blue key card there. Plex and the simple corporate shield, how the Marine basically smashes. Break from COD style, yes. Now the only problem is, after the first couple levels of the game, Doomslayer doesn't actually emote all that much. He doesn't really do any of his hand motions or anything after that. Which to me is kind of annoying. He could have used a little more character. But, whatever. Is the best we got. Now, when I initially live streamed this, like, the entire stream just sort of stopped. Because, like, the computer couldn't really handle it. What's kind of funny about that is the reason why it actually stopped was because I did not have a very good CPU cooler. Always invest in a good CPU cooler. Because, damn. Basically, the processor was throttling, so it would not fry itself. On this new PC build, I have a Cooler Master Hyper 212. It's got 2 fans! And I'm most pleased at having the 2 fans, because this thing is barely revving at all. See, like, it's one of those things where the glory kill system, when just playing to unwind like I am now, it actually is very satisfying. You can kind of just get into a rhythm where you shoot them and then bash them, shoot them and then bash them. It works. It's not really Doom, so to speak, but then again, what is Doom? Every game kind of modifies the core concept a little bit, and it kind of needs to. You don't want to just have the same thing over and over again. If you do that, you got bloody COD. I'm glad that there is, that at least does appear to be, some changes here and there in Doom Eternal. I do find it funny, though, how, like, there's some, like, YouTube lore videos about why do the demons look different? It's because it's the sequel, the demons always look different. Now, the Doom novels, they weren't actually demons, they were aliens, which still works for me. There actually is a fanfic that I was linked to by a fan a number of years ago, where it was a Doom story, but where the where it was actually a cosmic horror story kind of thing. And it worked well. Oh, really? I fell through that rock. I fell through it. You saw it. Worst game of the year, all years. COD's not that bad. Let's see. I have not ever seen Firefly. What is the favorite firearm I own? See, that's kind of hard to say, because I do have quite a few that I'm quite fond of. Depending on how tomorrow goes, I might have a new favorite, but for now, my favorite is the Star BM. It's a 9mm 1911, and it is absolutely beautiful, both in terms of handling characteristics, accuracy, and just overall usefulness. Let's see, do I want charge shot or explosive shot? I never use this shit anyway, so we'll just use whatever one I just chose. Well, you gotta beat the guy. He's just a robot trying to do the best he can. For shame, Doomslayer. For shame. But yeah, the Star BM, I picked that up a couple of years ago, back when they first came into the country. Absolutely excellent 1911-ish pistol. It's not a full-on 1911. It has a few minor improvements here and there. But I consider it more of a 1911 than not, because it still uses the Browning linked action versus the Browning linkless action that you see in most modern handguns today. Now, of course, it has the external extractor, no grip safety, but then again, the external extractor is used in some 1911s today, and I never particularly liked the grip safety on the 1911, to be perfectly honest. As heretical as that may seem, and it being a 9mm is not a bad thing, simply because 9mm is substantially cheaper than 45 ACP, I'll tell you that. But that damn thing is amazingly accurate. I mean, like, I can shoot a couple of revolvers, actually, a little more accurately than that. But of all the autos I own, that's the one I can shoot more accurately than any of the others. Now, a little later in the stream, I will show you something I'm going to be taking to the range tomorrow, and what might become my new favorite. Might be. We just have to see how it shoots. So yeah. I can actually give a hint as to what it is, but you'd have to be like a Psycho Doom fan like myself. It is a rifle that Flynn Taggart used in the 3rd book of the Doom novel series. No one's going to get that but me. No one! And I will explain what that gun is after we finish this level here. Yeah, this game's actually pretty good. I think I might have played it too many times back to back, and that's kind of why I got kind of burnt out on it. That'll happen. So yeah, Doom Eternal. I really like the little chain thing on the shotgun. I'm not sure how well that's going to be integrated into the gameplay. You'll just have to see. Smack him. Smack him. Now, there are some classic Doom mods that let you have glory kills. They take a little too long and ultimately get kind of boring, because classic Doom doesn't really work well with this kind of gameplay. Now, see, I prefer levels like this. If the game had more levels such as this, I would be a little happier with it. But since it doesn't, just some of those arenas do rankle a little bit. Also, that is a really shitty texture right there I just saw. Like, a really shatty texture, but we'll let it go for now. I'm trying to remember where that bobblehead is. I don't really know where it is, because I haven't played this in, like, a year. Also, this game is massive, by the way. I mean, like, it's like 50 gigabytes. I remember when whole hard drives were, you know, smaller than that. I remember when, like, a gigabyte was, like, a massive amount of space that you could never possibly fill up. How times have changed. Now, here's something for the younger fans in the audience. There will come a time when Doom 2016 has been out for 20 years. Oh, yeah. It'll happen to you. It'll happen to you. And you'll wonder, where did the time go? Alright, I'll check the chat as soon as we pop into here. Actually, no, we gotta activate the little thing there, and boom! We got Mars done. Sorrows of Empires again. It's rather odd that the Mericleons work pretty differently. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I would actually say that the AR-15 is a better thing for a STHF, and I have used an AR-15 on occasion, and they are quite excellent to say the least. Although I feel the recoil is a little snappier than I'd like. The Doom guy talking. I like the idea of more talking. I like more story. You know, I want to know what his thoughts are. Red Dead 2 coming to PC. I'm kind of looking forward to that. Because I really enjoyed Red Dead 1. I hope the PC port is actually halfway decent. And hello, Corey. Yeah, but like it was better when the T-800 actually could talk. Because a non-talking character can work well in an introductory sort of way, like in the first installment. But afterwards, it just gets kind of boring. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, once I finish that level, I'm going to give everyone a sneak peek of the next firearm video that's going to come out sometime next week, I think, depending on time. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is something I waited for many, many years. I give you, get in the frame here, the Caliber 30 M1. Yes, I picked this up off of the CMP just recently. For those who don't know, Civilian Marksmanship Program. Basically, if you meet their requirements, you can buy an M1 Garand for them. I don't feel bad about saying the price because the price is actually publicly available. This is a service grade. You can get one of these for $750. To put this in comparison, that sounds like a lot. At a local gun shop, they had a rack grade 1950s era M1 Garand, $1,800. Ridiculous. This is a World War II era M1 Garand. Springfield Armory, pretty much all the parts are Springfield Armory, except the op rod is a national match. It's not any better than a regular op rod, but it says national match. The barrel is a 49 Springfield Armory. The barrel is actually in pretty good shape. It's got a muzzle of +2 and a throat erosion of 4. Now, just about everyone's just going to hear that as random numbers. That's good. That's very good. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting some good footage of this tomorrow. Going to do a first shots video. And I got to tell you, when people say this rifle is heavy, it's heavy. Just holding it like that. I would hate to have to go on a 20-mile forced march with one of those bloody things. Hand actions, Master Chief Collection. Yeah, the MVP 15 isn't too bad. And yeah, the M1 is grand. Blech. The M1 is expensive, but I just worked a crap ton of 10-hour days, and yeah, I was able to get it. There's a lot of things you can do with the M1 Garand, and I'm not really sure why you would. Like, you can get the barrel replaced with a 308. I mean, that's where, like, you gotta look at the economy of doing something like that. Like, you can literally modify the M1 Garand into an M14, and I'm not sure why you'd do that. Simply because... Oh, yeah, that's also a new stock, by the way. A new walnut stock, no less. But I don't know why you would do that. I mean, if you look at the price, if you get, let's say, a service-grade M1 Garand, you're at $750. A new barrel is going to be, I think, somewhere around $150 to $200. Mag conversion, add another $300 to that. What you basically get is the same... By mutilating an M1 Garand, you basically have paid the same amount of money you'd pay for an M1A or an M14. It's like, what's the point? And yeah, I've heard the M14/M1A isn't any good. I don't know if it is or not. I'd never really had any desire to buy one. I've heard like the stocks have problems and things of that nature. So, and they're very expensive. I mean, I would never really want to pay like $1,000 for something like that. If I was going to buy a rifle that cost $1,000, I would buy something along the lines of like a PTR 91 or like a Ruger Precision rifle or something like that. Not really an M1A or an M14. Like, there's a difference between the M1A and the M14. The M1A has like a cast receiver, whereas the M14 has a forged one. But from what it is, it just doesn't seem worth it to me. If I was going to get like a really super accurized semi-auto rifle, I would just get an AR-10. I mean, they're going to be fairly inexpensive, and they're going to completely, at least from what I've seen, blow a M1A or an M14 completely out of the water. I got that M1 Garand because I wanted one of those literally since I was a kid. Because my grandfather, when he was in the Marines in the 60s, he had one of those. And he thought it was really good, but it weighed a lot. He always He has always talked about that because he's, well, alive and going to the range tomorrow. And there's going to be some footage of him shooting that, actually. But, yeah, always complained about the weight. Or continues to complain about the weight, and I can see why. Actually, I've already read a book on the M1 Garand. And according to that book, troops in World War II didn't find it to be particularly accurate. My thought on that is they probably were using a lot of semi-auto fire, by which I mean just sort of spraying and praying, and that's why they said it wasn't accurate. There, of course, were complaints about the weight and things of that nature. Now, according to the one book I read, I forget exactly who wrote it, evidently there was supposed to be some validity to some of the troops thinking that the clip noise was something that the enemy was able to pick up on. My theory on that is that when the clip is actually ejected, it is very loud to the person holding the rifle. If you're getting shot at by other people with 30-06 rifles, you're probably not going to hear it, but the shooter can hear it. So my theory is somebody shot off the last round. That popped out, and then the enemy charged. And they're like, well, that had to be why they charged. They had to hear it. At least that's where I'm thinking that myth came from. Ooh, let's see if we can hurl ourselves into the abyss. And let's see. They're post-Vietnam less and less interesting. And yes, most post-Vietnam guns are pretty boring. Because, yeah, once you've seen one AR, you've seen them all. But the AR is pretty good. I actually have a 3-gun competition that I went to up on the channel. And the AR worked quite well for that. So, yeah. That rifle is sadly so demonized by certain elements of the media. But you know how that goes. Let's see, I need to cut somebody up that actually deserves it. Like the Imp. But I am extraordinarily excited for the M1 Garand. Loading those clips is not as easy as you would think. One of the things you have to remember when you're loading an M1 Garand clip is your finger is the follower. So, like, you gotta keep pushing down the next cartridge to load it. I did not know that at first. And getting that last round in there is so difficult. And then, of course, you gotta watch out for the M1 thumb, but I already know to watch out for that, so hopefully tomorrow I can avoid that. Hopefully. So, yeah. That Garand is going to be sweet. Gonna shoot it at the 100, see if I can't hit anything. That rear sight is very easy to see. Pretty much. 5 years in the Marines. Not bad. The thing that it doesn't matter because you're already shooting at the enemy. That's a little... one barrel at a time. Well, there's only so much you can do when it comes to upgrading a double barrel. Now, in real life, there actually is a tacticalized double barrel shotgun with a Picatinny rail on the bottom. Yes, that does exist. And I think it's like the most hilarious thing ever. I mean, it is a tactical double barrel shotgun. An assault double barrel shotgun, if you will. It's got 2 barrels for, like, more firepower. So, yeah, I mean, I like me a double barrel. I have an old Sears double barrel that I was able to get for super cheap. And it's good for shooting trap. And it makes me very, wait, never mind. That'll probably get flagged by YouTube if I make that old joke. Well, you know how the YouTubes are. Now, it's like, one issue with the game, though, is they do like to have you destroy these gore nests for some reason. And I'm not really sure why. I'm not really sure what the point of that is. And you do it a lot in this game. Or at least it feels like a lot. It might not be. But yeah, that's, for me, when it comes to firearms, I prefer classic ones versus really modern ones. I mean, I have both, but for me, I do like me some wood and steel. Like, a lot. So, I mean, I actually had a friend of mine put it pretty hilariously, because I have a friend who really likes wood and steel as well. And we're talking about some rifle. I don't even remember which rifle it is at the moment. I think it might, actually, I think it might have been like a G3. I think. They're saying it had so much plastic on it that it looked like some kid's airsoft gun. It's like, whoa, that's some savagery right there. Don't tell that to a G3 fan. I'll tell you that, they'll have a heart attack. You can carry more ammo with an AR-15 because it weighs less. And you're more likely to find 223 or 5.56 ammo versus 308. Just because that is much more popular than 308. At least that's my logic on that. God damn it. Second barrel. And yes, I do prefer the more historical ones. I mean, like, the AR-15's great, but once you've seen one AR, you've seen them all. I considered getting a second AR, but that was mainly just to sort of snub some of the more insane politicians. But then I realized, oh yeah, wasting money on a rifle that I don't need is probably not a good idea. I considered getting an AR-10, but it's like, do I really need that? And then, well, M1 Garand. If I was gonna get like a battle rifle sort of thing, I'd rather get that, just because that's something I think is, well, this is a technical term, cooler than, you know, an AR but bigger. That's not, you can't really compare the AR-10 to the AR-15 that much, but effectively it's like the AR-15 but bigger. Actually, what's kind of funny is, like, if I'm not mistaken, the AR-15 is a scaled down AR-10. If I'm not mistaken. And I very well could be. I consider that PTR-91, but, yeah, it's like, getting that, like, the initial price is $1,000, and then you gotta get a good scope, and then you gotta get all the rest, and it's like, meh. That M1 Garand rear sight is really nice. Even I, with my horrible eyesight, can see it. What you'll see in the footage tomorrow is you'll see me wearing some shooting glasses. They're my, what I like to call Bubba Special shooting glasses. Since I shoot with the wrong eye, I totally meant to bounce that grenade in the most cool manner possible. But since I shoot with the wrong eye, I wear shooting glasses that cover up the inappropriate eye that I look through. So I look through that one. And even with those glasses on, I can still see the rear sight pretty easily. So, it's a good design. The AK-10, yeah, I've seen that. The FNFAL is way more expensive than I would have ever considered getting, just because of what it is. My opinions for Doom 2016 have gone in a complete revolution. When I initially got it, I thought it was great. Then I didn't like it. Now I like it again. What can I say? I'm kind of flippy-floppy on that. Yeah, my grandfather, when he was in the Marines, he was at 29 Palms. I forget exactly where that is, but he mentioned that it was very cold. Very cold indeed. I quite like the new design, actually. Wrist blades are nice, and it does look, he looks a lot thinner. This Doomslayer in this is a very chunky boy, to say the least. Very chunky indeed. And so I kind of like the more streamlined look of the new Doomslayer armor. And it looks a bit more like the classic Doomslayer kit. Also, we got the guy doing the growly growl. See, like, the demons in this seem a little bit Borg-like, because he's got some little mechanical bits in him, for whatever reason. Yeah, I have heard about the Republic Commandos showing up in Battlefront 2. It's about bloody time. I've never played Battlefront 2, the EA version, nor do I intend to. But it's kind of funny that there have been modded in Republic Commandos in the original Battlefront 2 for years at this point. Actually, you can even play as an Imperial Commando in some of the mods. So, yeah, Loot Front 2 is something I've never really considered that much. Oh, in California. Yeah, my grandfather told me all about his experiences in the Marine Corps. Like, when they first showed up, the drill instructor started screaming at everybody, and some people laughed, and, well, that didn't end well. So, yeah. Let's see. New design inspired a Turok modder to make those additions from I need to look at that mod. M60 vibe. Commandos or ARC Troopers? Well, I kind of like both. The Commandos have more characterization than the ARCs. The thing about the Grand Army of the Republic is, until I read the Essential Guide to Warfare, which I actually didn't do until literally last week. It didn't make a lot of sense. How do you hold down an entire galaxy with 1 million guys? That doesn't seem exactly accurate. But basically, the clones, even the generic ones, were only deployed in like certain theaters of the war. And even then, most of the war was actually fought in space, not on the ground. So you don't really need a giant, you know, army for certain things. And like, you'd only really be capturing the capital city anyway. So, it made sense. The Essential Guide to Warfare is an excellent essential guide. Back when Star Wars actually made sense versus what it is now. It's like, my god. What they've done to Star Wars, but I don't know if I'm actually going to sit through Rise of Skywalker anytime soon or not. I really don't want to see it. I mean, Rise of Skywalker sounds really stupid anyway. You just killed him! Who's gonna rise? All the Skywalkers are dead! I mean, Ben Skywalker doesn't even exist! So, which Skywalker could possibly rise at this point? Unless, of course, and I know they're not going to do it because it makes too much sense, unless, of course, the Luke that died in Last Jedi wasn't really Luke. No! God damn it! Am I going to hurl myself into the abyss, you know, like, throughout this entire playthrough? Unless, of course, they want to say that the Luke in Last Jedi was just a forced projection. They could do that, but it's like, I thought we were getting away from Luke. I thought Luke didn't matter anymore. Unless, of course, Rey is now a Skywalker. It's his secret daughter. I could see them doing that. That might make sense. Maybe. But, you know, it's just like, I don't even care. There's no way they could fix that. Unless somebody got a time machine and had Heir to the Empire become a thing in terms of film, Star Wars is dead to me. It's dead to me, man. It's dead to me. Oh, come on, get up there. I think the Essential Guide to Warfare was actually the last of the Essential Guides. Now, for those of you who aren't Star Wars fans, Star Wars had a bunch of guides released that explained ships and characters and planets. And they were really cool. They actually added to a lot of canon as they would explain stuff. They worked a bit like source books for an RPG. And they were pretty cool. I had, well, I still have pretty much all of them, except I don't think I have the Essential Atlas. I don't think. I might, though. But I've got, like, the original Essential Guides. I got the first, like, I got the very first Essential Guide to Vehicles and Vessels back in the 90s. I don't know how many times I've read that over the years. In fact, I even ripped out one of the pages for the Snowspeeder because I wanted to try to make that out of wood. That did not go too well. Because making that out of wood, I was able to picture making it out of wood, but making a model out of wood is not an easy prospect, especially if you don't know how to make something out of wood. And you're like 5. Let's see. LMG, ARC Trooper is actually more independent, yeah. And yes, I am looking forward to Cyberpunk. And welcome, Sugar Ray Ray. Yeah, Cyberpunk looks pretty good. And since I've upgraded the computer, I should actually be able to run it. Now, how long will it take me to actually beat the bloody thing? I do not know. Just because, well, you gotta work all the goddamn time, so it's not like I have time to really play that many games. And usually when I get back from work, I'm like too tired to even play anything. Unless it's kind of like a mindless thing. So, yeah. I do eventually intend to beat it once it finally comes out, but it'll probably take like a month. That's the problem though, if you want a nice new computer and all the rest, you gotta fucking pay for it. If you want to get an M1 Garand, you gotta work a lot of 10-hour days, that's for sure. But it's always kind of interesting to see just the various YouTube, I can't think of the word now. Gossip, there we go. YouTube gossip on all these different games. It's like, you can't just get Cyberpunk 2077. There's like all kinds of articles being made on it. It's like, is it sexist or something like that? It's like, back in the day, no one cared. And no one really cares now. I've never actually shot an M1 carbine before. I considered getting an M1 carbine, but they're very expensive. Like, the originals were like $1,000. And my thought is this: if I'm going to drop $1,000 on a carbine, I'd want to get something a little newer, because the hell? Oh, did I not pick up like the arm, or do I need to like activate him? Okay, there we go. But, you know, like the M1 carbine, if you want to get an original, you got to pay $1,000. And do I really want to pay $1,000 for a pistol caliber carbine? Hell, even a reproduction's about $700. So,
I'm blocking your access
Doom
to the
Eternal making
facility
enemies.
scanner. Come to the Vega terminal, and I'll give you what you need.
Sith Trooper.
I've not seen the Sith Trooper, but let's see. I've not actually paid that close attention to the enemy design for Doom Eternal, but if they're making it look like the more classic enemies, I don't really have a problem with that. I'd always hoped to see the original enemies in, like, modernish graphics to begin with. I mean, it's a little less original, but, there's nothing to really complain about. Because, like, the new Imp doesn't look too bad, but he just looks a little too skinny for my taste. He's a little too lithe. It's like the original Imp was described as being, like, 6 feet tall and completely muscular, whereas that thing is, like, 5 feet tall, and I just hurled myself into the abyss again, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually a SIG. A SIG Sour. Mancubus looks like the Doom 2 version, 72121. Huh. I've not looked at the zombie. And yeah, Palmetto State Armory. They got some good prices on ARs. I think they've been sold out ever since the great AR salesman of 2019 opened his big mouth. So, yeah. And as far as I know, Palmetto State Armory ARs actually have FN-made barrels. Now, for those who don't know, FN stands for Fabrique Nationale, which is actually a Belgian company, well known for their prowess in making firearms. But Sig Sauer does a damn good job, and it is an excellent rifle, to say the least. I was actually... What's actually pretty good about that AR is I was actually able to get some good hits at 100 yards with the iron sights, which made me quite happy indeed. And I think I just went in a big circle. But I can get some ammo, at the very least. Actually, no, I don't think I did. I forget exactly where I was supposed to go. Yeah, that A2 sight is not bad at all. Sand Trooper play. Oh, that sucks. Not the Sand Trooper. I actually have 2 Sand Troopers, but they're 3 1/4 inch figures. I have the original one from the 90s. I actually like the posing on that one. And one I got from a Walmart pack. Walmart actually sold a pack of the Sand Trooper, the Phase 2 Clone Commander, and the Phase 1 Clone Trooper Commander / pilot. I needed a second pilot, and so I used him as a second Phase 1 pilot. I didn't really need the Sand Trooper, but I don't mind having it. Sadly, I don't really have anything on display anymore, because I don't really have the room for it. Although, I still have a Lego TIE Fighter on display. Come on, smack him! Smack him! Smack him! This will sound heretical, but I kind of like using the controller over the mouse and keyboard these days. I feel like the controls for games like this are just a little more smooth with a controller versus mouse and keyboard. Used to be, I felt the exact opposite. And give me yo chip. I guess the reason I don't ever really do much iron sight shooting is just my horrible, horrible eyesight. Semi-auto Sterling SMG. You know, I would love to have been able to have been alive to get one of those at some point, but that's a pistol caliber carbine, so it's not really that useful. Well, I guess it is useful, but still. Demon designs. How I dislike the Cyber Demon in 2016. The one in 2016 looks a little generic. And I never was into Invader Zim, so I think that movie's supposed to be bad. So, I don't know. Lego is quite a bit fun, but yeah, kids and all the rest. Playing games like Doom, Wolfenstein. Metal Gear Solid 5. I never really got into Metal Gear Solid. Thought of doing all 4 classic Doom mods to see how they hold up now. I actually have been thinking about doing a playthrough of the original Doom, but I want to wait until I can get it working co-op, because there is a way to do that through Doomseeker. But I've never gotten Doomseeker to work right. No one can ever join my server, so I still got to work that out, but then eventually I am going to do that. Which should be a great deal of fun. See, like, the graphics in this game look pretty good. But some of the texture work can look a little weak. Even, like, maxed out. And break his leg off and hit him with it. I do recommend tracking down some of those Doom novels, though. They're actually really quite entertaining. It's always funny to see, though, like, reviews on them. They definitely have a very mixed reception. Either you love them or you hate them. Some people say it's like the story is generic or something, but I found them to be really entertaining. And they remind me, I've mentioned this in the review, but those Doom novels remind me of a Revolutionary War era memoir that I read once, and I can never remember the name of the guy who wrote it, but it reads a lot like that. Is it a gift? Also, Sammy, you designed this whole room just so you could do that. This whole room was designed just so you could bring that thing up from the floor. That, I have to say, is a bit of waste. Just saying. Just saying. Guard Legion. Yeah, I used to be a console gamer back when I didn't really have a PC. But these days, pretty much the only thing I have is the PC. Although, connected to the PC is a 360 and a Wii, so there's that. Let's see. Gore Legions. You know, I don't really know. I don't think I'd really like to be a member of any of them, to be perfectly honest. Because I'd rather not have my head get shot off by an assassin droid. Divine Armor. Let's go for ammo. I would imagine the Doom novels are still easily available because of the popularity of Doom 2016. I'd recommend checking out eBay or Half Price Books. They did get reprinted for Doom 3 with new covers. And I believe there's ebook versions of them. But from what I remember, the ebook versions aren't well formatted, but you can still be able to read them. Check Amazon if they have an ebook version of that. There's a lot of ebook versions coming out of like some classic novels. I recently picked up Wild Side as an ebook. Wild Side was one of my favorite novels as a teenager because the entire cast were teenagers, and basically they found a portal to a virgin Earth and started like mining gold and crap like that. It was really, really entertaining, and it mixed two things that I love, or three things really: exploration, aviation, and guns, because they all carried Mossberg 12 gauges. It was awesome, and they flew around in planes, which was also awesome. Does the Doomslayer? Yeah, Flint Taggart does talk in the original novels. A lot, actually. Play PS4. Yeah, PS4 should work. Actually, you know what's kind of funny? I did a review of it, but I don't think it's up on the channel anymore, where I used Minecraft to like illustrate stuff that happened in the book. And, yeah. It's kind of like, is Minecraft in a way? You know, I didn't think about that until just now. But yeah, they do go there, and they do start mining, and they start selling it in our Earth. It was really good. It's Wild Side by Stephen Gould. I would recommend picking it up. It's actually something my grandfather discovered at a Dollar General, of all places, for like $1. Let's see, we got 48 minutes. Yeah, we'll do one more level. The Commander. Honestly, if I was going to meet anyone from the Star Wars universe, I would like to meet Han Solo. That's about it. Yeah, maybe Luke. Because Han Solo is a cool... Actually, no, I take that back. I would want to meet Han Solo, Kyle Katarn, Corran Horn, Luke, Anakin Solo, but he dies kind of early. Spoiler alert. Well, it's like a 20-year-old spoiler, but still. But then again, like, I'd like to meet him, like, in like a convention kind of setting. But the big problem is, would I have anything really in common with any of those characters? Not really. So I'd be like, what up, dude? And then walk away. I reviewed Hexen 2 on CGR many, many years ago. It's a pretty good game, but expect to be lost like all the time and to have a walkthrough open because, damn. If you thought Hexen was confusing, Hexen 2 more so. Now, this level here was used in a lot of the promotional material, and it is pretty nice. Let's use the old micro missiles. And it is pretty nice. It's a very graphically intensive level that is very, very impressive. Now, we're not yet to the level where you can start bashing things, but really, Doomslayer doesn't have as much character as one would like. I mean, I would like to have seen a little more. I know he's not going to talk in Doom Eternal, but I still would like to know more of what he's thinking. You know, it works well enough here. We get it. He's angry, but I like more character to my protagonist. Nom nom. See, I'm trying to remember how to find that. I'm used to playing this after I get the jump boots. Also, who designed this room? Why is there random lava just around? It makes no sense. Starfighter. Stream so I can watch it. Sure, I can do that. I've maxed out all the settings on Doom 2016. It's like all are maxed out. My new computer can run it maxed out pretty well, actually. It's 60 FPS pretty much throughout. I did try it in 2K, but that tanked the frame rate down to 30, so yeah. This new PC's powerful, but it's not that powerful. Unfortunately. Give me your hand, I guess. Let's see. Pick up the plasma. I did not pick up the plasma gun. I actually forgot it was even in the previous level until you mentioned it. I'm just kind of like blasting through it for the purpose of the live stream. So that's why I'm not really getting any of the secrets. Let's see. Oh, I think you gotta jump back up here, maybe? Because I'm kind of like on autopilot. Let's see. No. Now here's a joke no one will get. I.O. Logistics Manufacturer. Well, then you know it's gotta be crap. I highly doubt they're still in business, but if they are, I.O. was a firearms manufacturer that made AKs that were made out of like cast parts that would constantly come apart. Now, what's kind of funny though is evidently it was really the quality control that was bad. Is because some of the things I read about them said that like if you got a good one, it was really good, but most of them were bad, which kind of sucks. I ultimately never got an AK just because the prices got higher than I was willing to spend, and when you can get a good AR much cheaper than you can get a decent AK, it's like to me it's a no-brainer when it comes to that. It's like to get a good AK, you got to spend like $1,000. Whereas to get a good AR, it's like substantially less than that. Now, like you can get a really, really good AR for $1,000 these days. That's more due to economy of scale and things of that nature. But the AK is cool, but just not really worth the price of admission. At least to me, that is. Let me grab the old shotty out here. Now, what's really nice is shotties are thankfully very cheap. However, unless you have access to like public land or something like that, shooting them is not an easy prospect just because a lot of ranges won't let you shoot birdshot or anything like that. Hugo and Marty have mentioned reviews that we will learn the Slayer's origins. You know, I wonder if the Doom Slayer, if they're gonna like, yeah, let's go ahead and get a health. Secret weapon in the previous level. Okay. The origin of alien pulse rifle sound. I do not know the origin of that sound, but it's a very awesome sound indeed. Which is precisely why they don't use it in Alien 3. And instead just use a generic gun sound. Yet another reason why I dislike Alien 3. If only they'd gone with that William Gibson script. I mean, if they'd done that, Aliens could be a franchise that's much bigger than it is today. But I think Aliens is sadly pretty much dead. I mean, like Alien Covenant was supposedly pretty bad. Now, I will admit I have not seen Alien Covenant, but one of these days I will sit through it. But I did see Prometheus, and I found Prometheus to be absolutely abhorrent. I saw it, like, not opening weekend, but pretty close to opening weekend, and yeah, it was pretty bad. Like, it was terrible. It's like, that was a movie I knew was going to be bad from literally the first 5 minutes. Because when that engineer is standing on that cliff, and like it's sweeping vistas, you know what movie you're getting into. You know you're getting a bloody art film that... yeah, I did not like it. And like the heavy-handed, you know, symbolism. It's like, no, please, no. Why? Why are you doing this? Why would you bring that into an Aliens film? What's the point? Oh, it was bad. But it does have its fans. And weirdly enough, it has a Japanese novelization, but not an American one for some reason, or an English one, I should say. Earthquake Champions, Doom Edition. Have a pulse rifle. Cookies without cream. And yeah, pretentious is the word for that, because, oh dear. It's like, they created us. No, they didn't. Why would you do that? And then why would you make them look human? I mean, making the engineers look human has got to be the stupidest thing imaginable. Because, okay, why would they look human? Why? Why would you do that? You are a film, ladies and gentlemen. When you have a film budget, you do not need everything to look human because you can afford costumes. I mean, one of the reasons why Star Trek, you know, everything looks human is because, well, money, you know. But when you have a film budget, just make them look like giant elephants. Just do it. But whatever. Whatever. Now, I have heard that, like, Alien Covenant has some SJW content in it, too. But I'd have to see it. I may watch it sometime in the future and do a review on it. I just don't really like sitting through shitty films. Especially now that I have no time. It's like, why would I want to waste my time watching that? Now, I am going to spend my time watching Doom, whatever the fuck that new Doom film is called. Because I did buy it. I'm not going to have any time to watch it this week, but I'm going to potentially watch it next week. And get a review out on that. I've heard mixed things about it. I've heard that it's good. I've also heard that it was terrible. One person that I talked to that has seen it said it's a lot like Aliens. And if that's the case, if it's a straight ripoff of Aliens, I'm going to like it no matter what because, well, I like Aliens, and if it's Aliens but Doom, that's not bad. It's unoriginal, but not bad. I also heard that female Doom guy is basically a Ripley-off, and if that's the case, well, I like Ripley, so having a rip-off of her, that's not that big of a deal. So, yeah. Let's see how I've been going. 58 minutes? Alright, we should be able to finish this level in the next, maybe 10 minutes, I think. And neither can I. And yeah, the trailer did look pretty horrible. The Earthwar comics for Aliens is excellent. Although I did not actually read the comic first. I actually read the book, which is one of my favorite books of all time. If you haven't read Aliens Earthhive, do so. That is the sequel that we deserve, but sadly not the sequel that we got. Because it actually introduces a lot of cool concepts. But the writers have some interesting futuristic guns. Like, they came out with a Smith & Wesson that is recoilless and completely silent as well. Which is kind of cool, but I'm not really sure how that would work. They have like a really cool, what is that thing called? Like a really cool caseless pistol that's like 4mm. That is very much a 90s concept, because there were ideas of like expanding bullets and things of that nature. Amazing how much technology changes in 20 years. Or should I say over 30 now, or almost. Good. Let's see, let's grab the old heavy assault rifle. This thing does look pretty heavy. You would definitely need some sort of super strength to lug that thing around. And the one thing I didn't like about this level is it's very easy to get lost. Like, very, very easy. We can't jump up there because we don't have the jump boots yet. I remember when I first played this, I wandered around for what felt like hours. But it was actually only days. Let's see, I think I just went in a big-ass circle. No, I didn't. There we go. Really, Doomslayer, you have to mantle up the box. You can't jump on the box. Sometimes I think... Oh, okay, we got the yellow key. Now we just have to find the yellow door. Yeah, that's the blue door. Reason... Lotz Doom Annihilation. Let's see. Oh, God. The one with Rock and Carl Urban. Oh, my God. I wanted that to be so good, and yet it was so bad. I absolutely hated that early 2000s Doom film. I did a review of it, but YouTube always takes it down, most annoyingly. So, yeah. That one with Carl Urban and The Rock was just so poorly written, poorly acted, poorly filmed. I don't even know how many more aspersions I can cast upon it. And see, it was even worse for me because, as being a massive Doom fan that I am, I bought the novelization before the film even came out. And that novel was terrible! It's like, I knew it was going to be bad before it even had come out, so, yeah. It was most unpleasant indeed. And ultimately, that is a film that is best left forgotten, and yet, for whatever reason, for many people that is their guilty pleasure, and I'm not really sure what is pleasurable about it. It's guilty of being a shit film, but it does not bring me pleasure to watch it. And that's mainly because it's boring. It's not funny. It's not so bad it's good. It's just an utterly dull film. It basically is a off-brand Yui Bowl or Uwe Boll film. I like pronouncing it Yui just because it sounds funny to me. But it basically is an off-brand Uwe Boll film, though. So I can't imagine that Doom Annihilation could be any worse. That's some famous last words right there, but I'm going to say them anyway. I can't imagine it would be that much worse. Because, damn. Damn. Smack him. See, I still need to find that goddamn yellow... There it is. Okay. I need to upgrade the weapons, and will in the next episode. Or the next stream, I should say. Uwe Boll. Now, that was something from the early 2000s. I don't know if he's... Oh, crap. Now, if only I knew how to use the chainsaw, but I don't remember how to deploy that with the controller. Hit him with grenade. It's like, he is good chainsaw fodder, but I don't remember which control does that. Oh, it's B. Brilliant. And not a moment too soon, either. Give it a shotty. Honestly, the first Alien movie had a fantastic build-up suspense, but the rest of the film was... I don't really feel like that was the case. I mean, they were a crew of space truckers. They didn't really know exactly what they were doing, you know? And the Xenomorph was a pretty canny foe. Now, that being said, next year I do intend to review Alien Isolation. I picked up the novelization, and that was a big mistake. The novelization is utter crap. Never read. 10 out of 10. Would not ever read. The novelization for Alien Isolation basically turned Amanda Ripley into a complete whiny cretin. I mean, it's really quite sad. I've played some of Alien Isolation, and Amanda Ripley is not a whiny little, yeah, you know. But that's what they... Basically, they turned her into... She whines all the time and has a massive number of daddy issues. And it's just... It's painful to... It was painful to read. there have only been a few other novels that have infuriated me as much as that. And the writer wasn't even that bad. Although the writer does have SJW tendencies from what I've heard, so there's that. But, I mean, why would you turn a character like that into, you know, a whiny little idiot with daddy issues? Why? And it doesn't even make any sense either. Canonically, or what was canon, Ellen Ripley and her husband actually had a really good relationship. But, surprise! We can't have that because, the Whammons. I guess. It's, kind of sad in that regard. Kind of sad indeed. That's the biggest problem with, like, Aliens now. I mean, it's like, there's not that many good novels for it. Now, there are some AVP novels that have been released in the last, decade. Am I out of... I am completely out of fuel. And space gas ain't cheap. Come on, blow 'em up. Yeah, I saw you glitch there. Asshole. But yeah, those new AVP novels aren't very good. I mean, they bring back the Yacha and stuff like that, but the writing style was so dull, it was not even really worth reading. So, yeah, there goes yet another franchise that I absolutely loved. Yeah, there's the map. Thank you. Now, where's that key? We need to actually make sure we don't pass up the key. Because I remember the key somewhere around here, and I always run past it. Let's go back down here. I don't think it's down here. Well, let's take a look anyway. Let's just investigate. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. This is another game that might be fun in VR, but honestly, since I stare at a computer screen all day, every day, VR gives me a headache these days. And massive eye strain. Favorite weapon in this game? I would actually say I prefer the plasma rifle. And on Mars fights demons. You would think that would be easy, but not. But, you know, it's like, why make Ellen Ripley's dad a deadbeat dad drunk? I mean, why? He wasn't in the Alien and Aliens novelization. Why do that now? It doesn't make any sense. Unless, of course, you have a agenda of some description, and that agenda is whammon, I guess. It's a weird thing when it comes to that, but that was like that was one of the most disappointing video game novelizations I've ever read. But then most video game novelizations these days are pretty bad in many instances. Like, Halo got bad when they made Dr. Halsey a villain for some reason. When in all reality, she pretty much is a big hero for humanity, because without her creating the Spartans, literally all of humanity would be extinct. It makes no sense. Why would you do this? It's crap. And see, that's where, for me, I don't get the hate for fanfics. Because fanfics actually are good if you find the right ones, that is. Because there are some fanfics that actually crap. Do I have any chainsaw gas? Yes! Eat space gas! Well, that was close, but like there are some fanfics that will actually be better than canon. Case in point, Halo Finishing the Fight, which is on fanfic.net. Basically, it's a fan continuation of Halo, but it's completely different from what we would get from 343. Takes place immediately after Halo 3. It has Sergeant Johnson and Miranda Keyes survive, and they end up crashing on the Forgotten Realms world, Faerun, which I thought was pretty cool. The Didact is actually a good guy, and I found it to be much more entertaining than what 343 came up with. Ooh, that does remind me, though. I do have a fan theory for why Cortana went evil. And my thought is... Now, I doubt 343 will do this. I highly doubt it. But they would be smart to say that Cortana is actually an evil clone. Because in some of the Halo novels, Cortana cloned herself. So, you could just say that's not the real Cortana. you know, it's a clone of her that went bad, and the real one is out there somewhere, and Master Chief has to save her. The fans, including myself, would actually like that. And that does remind me, I think I got a message saying something about the Master Chief Collection. I'm probably going to get that, just so I can have it on PC, but I also have it on 360 as well. But to be able to play that multiplayer via Steam would be absolutely excellent. Because as much as I like local co-op, not having to stare at one tiny sliver of screen, yeah, that's very good. Favorite Xenomorph type? Just the basic warrior type is my favorite. Actually, no, I take that back. My favorite type is the initial one. It's extra creepy. The warrior type's pretty cool too, but like the drone Xenomorph with the little skull is delightfully scary looking. Darth Vader versus the Xenomorph, Boba Fett versus the Predator. Well, you know, it's like Darth Vader versus the Xenomorph. Darth Vader's gonna win, you know, because he can actually think and use the Force. Boba Fett versus the Predator. See, the big problem with those versus fights is the major character is almost always going to have to win, otherwise it's going to be disappointing, because you know who Boba Fett is and you want to root for him, whereas it's just a generic Predator. Now, if you were to have a particularly long story where you establish what the Predator, who the Predator is, what he's done, and really get the audience invested, then you would actually potentially root for him. But the problem is the Predator is almost never developed past he a bad guy. So it's kind of hard to root for him because he's just a generic bad guy. But if he actually had character, then, well, then it would be a little different. See, that's why for me character is so important. I mean, you don't really want to develop everything. We don't really care what this generic Hell Knight is thinking, but it is generally good to know like what the big bad guy is thinking and give him some more motivation other than take over the world. Because a good hero is defined by good villains, as Batman Arkham Origins would tell us. I don't remember if Batman Arkham Origins is good or not. I haven't played that in almost a decade. And that's scary in and of itself, that it's almost a decade old! Where has the time gone?
The core temperature is now stabilized.
We fixed it just like the Isaac Clarke!
The primary control room has been activated somewhere nearby. It could be Olivia.
Alright. Now, when it comes to Predator characters, there's like one. And that's the one from AVP Prey. And like, that character is still popular to this day. And it's kind of funny that most of the lore for AVP comes from a grand total of one book. I mean, there's a little more in like Hunter's Planet, but then Hunter's Planet wasn't very good.
Alpha 4, 0, 2.
You gotta love those passwords. Also, she ugly. I mean, if you're gonna sell your soul to the devil, you might get a little bit of a, you know, makeover there. Because, holy crap.
She's
like,
trying to tear open the portal between our world and theirs.
You gotta love the Tony Stark holograms. Now, Doomslayer's just standing here. He's just watching this. It's like, Doomslayer, shouldn't we try to stop her? You know, should we do something?
You could not have saved them anyway.
Yeah, says you. If we had, like, a time machine, we could. Oh, an hour work? Sweet. Facehugger's probably the scariest. Seen from aliens, the facehugger's room. Yeah, that is pretty creepy. Although for me, the facehugger's especially creepy just because in all the AVP games, that is an insta-kill and they like to jump out of nowhere. That is a very effective jump scare. Alright, so wait for that door to open? Yeah, that's what I thought.
The system won't allow anyone but Olivia to override it.
You have to shut down the Argent Tower manually.
Manually from the surface.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've gone for an hour and 14 minutes. Yeah, I'm liking Doom 2016 again. I'm really getting in the zone for Doom Eternal. And so, I am General Lotz, wishing you good AVP Prey and good Halo Combat Evolved, whatever makes you happy.